Hello, watchers and listeners, and welcome to another episode of Northern Lights Books Author Interview Plunge. Today's guest is the elegantly poetic Indigo Skye. Indigo Skye used to be Dani James, performs as Dani Skye, and when not exercising her super poetry performance powers, go ahead folks, say it 3 times fast, spends her days as Danielle Duncan. Indigo hails from St. Louis, Missouri, and started writing poetry, short stories, and song lyrics at the age of 13. She won her first poetry award at 17, her first songwriting award at 19, and she performs with a dance troupe in her busy, busy life. That was earlier in her life. We'll have links to some of her videos underneath the interview. And while I haven't seen one of her performance videos, I am sure they are breathtaking after having talked with her. I'm going to share a few lines from Indigo's Face the World. Thought you were my soulmate, imperfectly perfect for me, I thought you were. So just for today, I will stay in the darkness, allowing the beautiful sadness to comfort me, because I don't want to face the world today. Elegant and rhythmic, Indigo's musicality comes through in her words, and that's not easy to do. Please welcome Indigo Skye, Dani James, and Dani Skye, all in the poetic person of Danielle Duncan. Welcome. I hope I didn't butcher the poetry too bad there when I was reading it.
No, you did it just fine.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Okay, let's go into the questions. Indigo, you are an award-winning poet, songwriter, an accomplished dancer, and a performer. And in your spare time, you cuss like a drunken sailor.
Yes.
How did you find time to be interviewed?
Well, I ask myself that every day. I'm trying to figure out how do I find time to do anything. But usually, if it's something that I really want to do, no matter how busy my schedule is, I always try to find some little loophole somewhere. And I'm like, okay, we got these 2 hours free, so we're gonna go ahead and do this. So like, if I really want to do it, I'm gonna, move some stuff around and make it happen.
Okay. Your published works include Open Letter, Broken Flower, Bittersweet, In Repair and Fully Restored, Volume 1, and Lotus, Bittersweet, In Repair and Fully Restored, Volume 2. And listeners and watchers, by the way, these books will be available to the right of the interview or perhaps underneath it, depending what device you're looking at. Indigo, these are all poetry, and you told me that you started a new short story called Over 30 and a Decade Single. Mm-hmm. Can you share what changes when you're writing prose versus poetry?
Let me see. I guess when I'm writing poetry is I get an idea and it's kind of quick for me to write it like within that moment versus when I'm doing a short story, it's a lot more thought that go into it. And I have to like come up with the title and the beginning and end. Then I got to come up with all the characters and kind of just put myself in that mind frame like, okay, what location is going to be set in? How do I want the characters to sound? And then I kind of, I usually picture myself, all my main characters are always female. So I try to write, one day I'm going to write a story with the guy being the main character, but it's easier for me to do the female as the main character. And I remember one of my short stories I had, like when I was a teenager, and one of my friends read it and they was like, "This you, huh?" And I was like, how do you know? Because it's like the way I write like I'm the main character, and it's like I do it as like it's a movie, and people would say I can actually see all this going on. It's like, yeah, that's the point. Like when I'm writing, I set it up like it's a movie, like with if the sky's green, and then I look at it as there's a camera that's moving from here to this angle, and then it's going into the bedroom, and then there's music playing. So it's like, it's almost like I'm directing it when I'm writing my short story, and I want people to pretty much see what I see. And with this character, her name is Briss Scott, and she's loosely based off of me, and I'll have to say loosely, like 90% loosely. No, actually 90% true, you know.
Mhm.
But it's some stuff in there I kind of exaggerated as far as like with the dates, because I had thought about all the guys that stood out to me that I dated, and I'm gonna exaggerate some of it, and then some of it is gonna be true, and you're gonna think it's exaggerated. It's like, no, this actually happened, and because I have, and it's one guy. I know two guys actually. I recently went on dates with, and they're gonna be in their book, and I'm changing the names up. So
Good idea.
yeah, I change the names up with everybody, but it's like, but I'll put in parentheses, you know, their real name, you know, not in the book, but like, so I know exactly
Right.
what I'm writing about. And I think once if any of them get a hold of this book, they'll know it's about them. They'll be like, I do not do that. No, I don't.
You mentioned that over 30 and a decade single, the short story that you're working on is a dramedy, a romantic comedy drama, and that it's about a woman who was in a toxic relationship for 3 years. Could you tell us what it's like, how that story came about, and what it's like to write that story?
Yes, actually, I had combined. It's about the last relationship I was in 8 years ago. So I was with this guy. It was a little under a year, but I was with my son's father for 3 years. So I'm kind of like combining the two. So experiences I had with my son's father and with this last guy, I'm kind of like mixing it in there. But in the beginning, I pretty much tell where I set it up to what happened after. Well, I'll give you a little bit of what happened in the beginning. So she, it starts off where she's in her walk-in closet, and she's like laid out crying. She has a bottle of, I think it's a bottle of vodka, and then all his clothes are gone, and he leaves a note saying why he's leaving. And and I'm like describing, like in the closet on his side, it's just hangers. And then he leaves his sweatshirt. It's like little things that he leaves behind, you know. And she's just really distraught. And she pretty much hits rock bottom. And she, from there, when she hits rock bottom, she, you know, tries to do something later on that she kind of regrets. And then 2 months later, she ends up in the hospital, and she's talking to her sister. And I kind of give a little bit of background of how she got to that place. But then later on in the story, I'm going to go deeper into the relationship she had. The guy's name is Jordan. So
Not his real name, just
no, but my real ex, his name does start with a J, but it's not Jordan. So, but yeah, and then later on, I'll kind of do flashbacks into how they met up into how the relationship got toxic. And then from there, I'm going to go into each year. Like first her trying to pretty much get herself back on track. And then the fun part would be her getting into the dating. So she'll have times where she's dating, and then she'll have guys where she's like hooking up and, you know, experiencing her sexual peak and all that stuff, you know.
Are you writing this book as your own personal catharsis? Are you writing it to help other women who may be in toxic relationships to have the strength to get free of them, or what is that?
Yes, I think it's going to be a little bit of both, to help other women, to let them know that they're not alone in this situation. And then also at the same time, certain parts I'm going to make fun of myself, you know, so it's not going to be like too serious, but there's going to be some funny moments in there as well.
Okay, good. Your first showcase, we're going to switch gears a bit. Your first showcase, introducing Dani Skye, is that the
Yes.
correct one? Okay. Is booked for Saturday, April 14th, 8 p.m. at 4510 Manchester Ave, St. Louis, Missouri. And I, excuse me, I got to tell you, I read Manchester, and there's a Manchester, New Hampshire, about 18 miles away, and I thought, oh my God, I'd be able to see her. But then I went, no, St. Louis, no, crap.
Yeah.
Anyway, so introducing Dani Skye, Saturday, April 14th, 8 p.m. at 4510 Manchester Ave in St. Louis, Missouri. Everybody within 100 miles, go see that. This is a 90-minute show featuring pieces from all 7 of your poetry collections. What is it like to prepare something like that?
Well, I have not started anything yet. So I had, this is a funny story. Actually, today I went on my Facebook page and I had got a request, a co-hosting request, and it was from the venue that I booked. And I had told you it was April 14th. And I went on there and I clicked on it. It said February the 26th. I'm like, oh, hell no. The fuck no. I'm like, no. I was like, that's 6 weeks. I'm like, I don't even have flyers. I got to get new business cards. I got to contact Channel 2 News so I get a spot on there so I can talk about my show. I'm thinking, I got a million things to do. And then I've been doing overtime at my job like every day this week. And then I'm trying to save for a house. And I'm all like, I cannot prep, because when I was in high school, I was in theater. And I know that we don't prep a show for 6 weeks. It's usually between like 3 to 4 months out, because then you got to audition. And then once you do that, then you got to have like the production and the lighting and the script memorized. And then you have dancing in there. Then you got to have the choreography down packed. And then, I mean, it's a lot that goes into a production. And I'm like, I am not used to prepping in 6 weeks. I'm like, that is not enough time, even though it's going to be a smaller showcase, but still, like, this is my first showcase and my reputation is on the line, and I can't just get out there and not rehearse, not done anything. And I'm like, this is my first show, and I don't want this to be my last. So I was heated. I was really heated. And I emailed the lady. I'm like, oh, no, we did not agree on this date. We agreed April 4th, because originally it was April 21st.
Right.
And it got moved up to the 14th because it was some other company that they booked a lot of shows and they're successful, and then that's why she moved to the 14th. I said, okay, cool. Then I see this February, and I was like, no, this is not gonna be acceptable. I'm like, look, I can see, if you push it back a month, then that would be better, because they'll give me more time to prepare, but you're not gonna move it up 2 months in advance. And I'm like, and I haven't even started rehearsing yet. So I'm all like, I have to set aside time for that. So I'm like, no, that is not gonna happen. No, fix that shit. So, she emailed me back today. She like, oh, that's a mistake. I apologize. I'm like, yeah. I mean, good thing I was able to, correct the dates, but I still want to confirm, like, we have a contract, April 14th. That's what you gave me. That's what we're doing, and we're not doing that.
Right.
I will go somewhere else, because either way, we're going to do this show in April. It's happening.
Yes, April 14th, folks. Okay, so you're in the process of preparing, but you did do theater work before. You've been in a dance troupe. What is it like to perform something like this?
To do spoken word, I'm used to doing like, when I go to open mics, I'll do like 1 or 2 pieces, and that's usually between like 5 to 10 minutes. But for me to do like my own show, and it's like a 90-minute show, and then you got to think, okay, I got to do my best pieces, like which pieces I'm gonna do. And then you have to, first I had to think how I was gonna do this show, because I didn't want to do anything like, I didn't want to come out being like a diva, like, well, yes, I am Dani Skye, and I'm just
you did that really well. I'm gonna tell you. I'm very impressed. She was acting, folks. That was the evil Dani Skye. And now we have the good Dani Skye. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I was like, I wanted to be some small and intimate. I didn't want like, cause later on I'm gonna have this big, gigantic show. But for now, I was like, I just want to have something small and intimate. So I thought about what can I kind of reference to, and I thought about VH1 has this show called Storytellers, and it's a lot. Every singer on there, they have like a small stage, and you got people sitting in chairs or sitting on the floor, and they got like candles, and it's just set up real nicely. And I remember seeing it, and then they talked about how they wrote certain songs. And I remember I seen one with Chris Aguilera on there, and she talked about all the songs that she sang and what made her write those. And a lot of the songs were songs that I like because I have all her albums. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know if that's what caused her to write that song. I thought, you know what, I should do something like that. That's cool. Kind of like talk about what made me write the poem in the beginning and then jump into the poem, because there are a lot of pieces that I've written and people will be like, how did you come up with that? What inspired you to write that piece? And I thought that would be a really cool way to kind of let people know what my thought process is. Because a lot of people do ask me, they're like, well, what is your thought process? Like when you're writing a poem, do you have a theme? And I'm like, no, I really don't have a theme. I'm all like, my thought process, it varies. I would usually, all my really good ideas come between 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Like when I'm sleeping and I'm knocked out, and I'll hear an idea like a title or a verse.
The idea fairy comes and taps you. Is that what happens?
Yeah, it's just like idea. Oh, okay. Oh, hold on, let me write that down. Or sometimes, like my first song that I written, that came to me in a sleep, and I heard like the melody and everything, and I kept hearing it, and I had a notebook by my bed, and then I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was in high school. I was like 17 years old, and I woke up, and I'm like, I gotta hurry up and write this down. So I instantly started writing that poem. It started off as a poem, and then later on I turned into a song. You know, so, yeah.
Well, okay, you mentioned storytellers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's obvious from what you're saying that writing poetry, writing short stories, is not something that's kind of, oh, this will be interesting for a day. You actually have a career mapped out in your mind. So
Yeah.
what are you going to be doing in 5 years? And will you have time to come back and talk with us again?
Mm-hmm.
The amazing Miss Indigo Dani Skye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, definitely in 5 years, I plan on having, of course, there's going to be more poetry collections, more short stories, and over 30 and a decade single. That is definitely going to be a stage play. So within 5 years, I'm hoping to get that up and running, that being a play, and then hopefully get into the right hands, turn into a movie.
I was going to say movie rights.
Yeah, I could definitely see it on, I could see it on Lifetime, like as a TV movie. I mean, if it turns into a big production where it's in theaters, that's great, but I would like for it to start off on Lifetime, because usually Lifetime, they have really good movies. So, but also I do have friends that are actors, and one of my friends, he knows a lot of producers and directors. So whenever I'm ready to turn this into a movie, I can always call him up and be like, hey, I got this script and I need a director and I need a producer. Of course, I'm gonna be executive producer. You know, I might end up directing it as well. I probably just
Why
need
not?
a studio. You know,
I would. Screw it.
But I know where to go. I was just like, okay, so whenever I want to turn this to a movie, then they go play it. It's this small theater in the Loop called the Tivoli, and they play a lot of like independent films. And once I get that going, I can always play my movie there because I know people gonna come and see it, and it's in my own neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. The multi-talented, soon to be directing and everything else.
Yes.
What advice would you give other writers?
I would definitely say, don't give up. That's easier said than done, because me saying that, you know, I'm just like me saying it to myself, and it's like I have moments where I get frustrated. Like today, I got frustrated when I thought I had to do this show in 6 weeks, and I got really emotional. Like I started crying. I was like, I can't do this show. 6 weeks. I just can't. I was like, I gotta get. I was like, oh no, I'm doing. And then and I text my friend, the friend that told me not to give up, because I knew she was gonna give some good advice, and she was like, don't stress out about this. You go do this show, okay? And you go contact that lady, and she go give you that date. That's the date that she gave you. That's the date you go have. You ain't giving up. And I was just like, okay, all right.
All right, never give up. So here's the next thing. Your writing, your poetry, your short stories, they have an awful lot of emotional content to them. It's not a bunch of intellectuals standing back and forth. So what exactly is the philosophy of, your stories are about people who are actually got their guts turning inside out.
Yeah.
Are there emotions which are more difficult for you to write? What are the most challenging emotions for you to write?
Let me see. I would have to say the probably like the erotica or like sexy poems. Those are, of course, I have moments where I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I look good today. Like, but
and you do. I'm not laughing because you don't. You do. You do.
Thank you. But everybody has those moments where you just like, I look extra good. Like I'll fuck myself. Like, wow. Mm-hmm. But it's like to write stuff like that, because it's like I gotta put myself in that mood. Like if I'm gonna write a sexy piece and I'm writing, like I'm talking about a guy that I'm interested in. And when I do erotica pieces, because I'm in the open mics where there are 2 types of erotica poems. You have the erotica pieces where you can be sexy, but it's tasteful. And then you can use wordplay where you use certain words and you use like certain metaphors where people know what you're talking about. They're like, oh. And then you have some people that are just downright, which is what I do, because I'm like, I don't want to get too nasty. It's like, I want to be classy with it, so you can still be sexy and then classy. And then you have some people that just downright just nasty, where they just like saying I don't know if I can say the P word,
Oh, go for it.
Well, they saying pussy everywhere. And actually, the one that I went to Wednesday, this girl actually twice, she got up and she was like, I draw pussies for a living. I'm like, okay. And then somebody else did a poem and they just kept saying pussy here and there, and I can't say that out loud, so I'll say kitty cat, or something else to describe it. That way what I'm talking about. I just feel like using that word, I would just use that if I'm dating a guy or, whenever I get married, I use that word then in the bedroom, but I just can't write it in my poetry because it just feels dirty. And I just feel like you can be sexy, but you don't have to be like so vulgar. And some people are just like, they say so much dirtiness and it's unfiltered to where it's not even sexy anymore. And it's just like, ugh, like, my ears, Wash
Well,
your hands. Like,
you have said that you use vulgarity and expletives in some of your work.
yeah.
So for yourself, not for others, but for yourself, do you use vulgarity and expletives for shock value? Are they just words, and because you're a poet, because you're an author, you have to use words, and sometimes words convey meanings, sometimes you want that shock value. You
Yeah.
want to get someone's attention. Or is there something else entirely that you do?
I would have to say it's maybe 2% shock value, but the majority of it is just I feel like I express myself better when I cuss. When I be like, you know what, fuck you, get you, your bitch ass, shit. Like it just seems like it just makes the poem sound better. I mean, I do have pieces where I just don't use profanity at all, and those seem to be the most boring pieces. And it's like, and the ones where I'm using the most profanity, that's how I talk in real life. So I feel like it's more relatable. People are like, oh, wow, she is so cool because she's using all these cuss words. I can relate to her versus if you're talking. That's how people think. It's like,
No, I agree. Yes.
Yeah, the pieces where I do the most cussing in, that's where people start approaching me afterwards because they feel like she's a real person. Like I can actually talk to her versus if I use intellectual pieces and big words, people are like, I don't know. She might look down on me because she using all them big words because she went to college and I didn't. And I just went to ITT Tech. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to be I want to be relatable to my audience because when I get up and do a piece, I don't want to just get up and be like, okay, go right into the piece. I talk to the people first, and I'll be like, hey, how y'all doing? Everybody doing good? Okay, and then I try to, feel them out, get them comfortable, so that way once you get them comfortable, then they like ease up, and then they can absorb what you have to say. So I always have to have that connection before I start performing. It's very important.
Excellent. We're coming up to the end of the interview. I got 2 more questions for you.
Oh, darn it. Damn it.
Gee. All right. Here we go. Here's the loaded question.
Okay.
Some authors tell me that writing is a solitary profession, and I get the image of the author hammering at a keyboard with an unshielded light bulb burning over their heads, an ashtray full of cigarette butts, and a strong cup of coffee, or if it's me, a strong glass of scotch. Neat. No, don't cut it with anything. Just make me burn my mouth.
Okay.
How accurate is this to your writing process? Because you'd mentioned vodka earlier, in the closet scene to over 30 in a decade single. And I was about to say, well, it should have been scotch. But is that the way is that your writing thing, or do you get up and take these notes? Is there a specific time when you write? What goes on?
Well, that description that person had, for me, that's like 0% accurate for me. This is my writing process. I do it 2 different ways. I say 3 different ways. Okay, well, if I'm not in my 2 favorite spaces, sometimes I'll write in my car and I'll have a certain song on to get me in that mood, which is not very comfortable because usually if I'm sitting outside an open mic and I'm trying to hurry up and write something new at that moment, I'll do that. But for me to be comfortable, either I'm at Panera Bread with my laptop and my pick 2, and I do my chicken frontega sandwich with French onion soup and a lemon drop cookie or a raspberry thumbprint cookie. So I have to have those things and my music because I listen to my Amazon Prime and I have over 300 songs. So I have a playlist for whatever mood I'm trying to write, and I'll put that playlist on and I'll start typing. Or if I'm at home, I'll have a nice chilled glass of Muscato. So I'm a very big Muscato girl. So any guys out there that's single in the St. Louis or Illinois area, if you want to impress me, give me a nice glass of Muscato. That's a start. Yeah. Not the cheap kind either. No.
Okay. Last question. What question do you wish that someone would ask about you or your book, but nobody has?
Let me see. Well, I guess how long did it take you to write that book? I never got that question.
How long did it take you to write that book?
Which one?
No, you didn't tell. Okay. Open Letter. How long did it take you to write Open Letter?
Okay, Open Letter. That was written in 30 days.
Wow. That's fast. Is that one of those write more things on the internet that you did?
No, it was like this guy we wouldn't date. We was just fucking. We just gonna be honest.
Okay.
We started off as friends.
Thanks for the visual.
I didn't know how to put it. I was like, well, we're dating, we're in a relationship. So I just like we started off as friends, and then it went to friends with benefits type deal.
Yep.
And then it did some stuff had happened, and he went from being this sweetheart to a straight asshole. And
straight line, no curves in the road, boom, right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Asshole. And I wrote that. Pretty much that whole book was inspired by him. So like from the ups and downs of being with that person.
Well, and, thank God you went to bed with the guy, or there'd be no book.
And the sex wasn't really all that great. It was okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was average,
So
but he made me laugh, so that's the only reason I kept fucking with him. And then he gave great foot massages and full body massages.
Well, obviously, so there's no keyboard and no unshielded light bulb, but there is a lot of screwing around in the bed. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Not at the moment, but like 3 months ago there was.
Oh yeah, there we go. Danielle, Dani Indigo, thank you so much. This has been a joyous interview. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have.
Yeah.
We're going to have this go live at least a week before your April 14th at 8 p.m. Introducing Dani Skye at, that's going to be at the Monaco, correct?
Yes.
I'm not sure we put that out there. That's going to be at the Monaco at 4510 Manchester Ave in St. Louis, Missouri. Everyone in the St. Louis or Illinois area, go there with a glass of good Muscato.
Yes.
Because that will impress her. Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.